more people can join us.
Okay.
Did you have any more technical notes you'd like to share before we begin, Lori?
No, I think that we're fine, ready to go.
Great. Well, good evening. I'm Margaret Holm from First Things First Okanagan, and tonight I'm joining you from Musqueam territory in Vancouver. Many of you, though, are in the Okanagan, in the traditional and unceded territory of the Seal. Land acknowledgements that we do at the beginning of our meetings are meant to influence how we think about where we live and remind us of the First Peoples' inherent right to their traditional lands. Tackling climate change means that we must consider what we do individually, and like we're doing tonight, we're having a conversation about what we can do in our own homes, but we also must consider the decisions that are being made by our governments, by us collectively. And I don't know about you, but I'm lately struggling to understand and respond to the land dispute that we have, the Wet'suwet'en blockade of the Coastal GasLink pipeline. It's a complicated issue. And this week I came across two resources to help understand it, and I thought I'd share it with you tonight. And Lori will be putting links to these two things in the chat. First of all, CBC Front Burner is a podcast, and they actually had it on today on CBC, but it's available to stream anytime. They have a half hour that talks about the Wet'suwet'en Coastal GasLink protest. As you know, there's been recent arrests of a couple dozen people, and it's really an issue that's ramping up. And as you recall, a year and a half ago, we had demonstrations and blockades across Canada. So it could escalate into a serious thing again. So this is just a CBC podcast that goes through some of the background legal battles, how to understand the blockade and traditional land rights. So I highly recommend you listening to it. You can see that link in the chat. And then secondly, Knowledge Network has a really good 4-part series called BC An Untold History. And the first episode 1 is called Change and Resistance. And it gives you an overview of some of the BC Indigenous people settler conflicts that I sure learned a lot. It's kind of an untold part of our history. So the series is told through conversations with dozens of people living in BC. You'll hear from Indigenous people, Indigenous leaders, lawyers, and historians, and it's been woven together into a very creatively done historical story. So I really recommend those two things. So tonight we're here to hear from a couple of people that are going to encourage us to be thinking about how we can save energy. But first of all, I just wanted to introduce our group. First things first, we're a South Okanagan Climate Action Group. We host these discussions called Deep Dive once a month. Our mission is to promote awareness of climate change and to work to find solutions for a better future. So by hearing from people in our community and from around BC, we hope to gain insight into what we can accomplish here as individuals and collectively too. So fellow board members, Lori Goldman, who's our Zoom technician, and Sue Kirschman, our co-hosts. And now I'd like to turn things over to Sue. She's going to introduce tonight's topic and speaker. Thanks.
Unmute myself there. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. As a result of our incredibly hot and smoky summer, more people are looking at the best way to not only heat their homes, but also how to cool them and filter the air. And because of this interest, we decided to host a couple of sessions related to home energy. Next week, we're co-hosting a webinar that is specifically about heat pumps, but this evening, we'll be looking more broadly at the whole energy system in our homes. Before I introduce our guest speakers, I just wanted to mention that home energy improvements are not just about saving money, though that is, of course, important. Using less energy means that fewer greenhouse gases are emitted, which benefits everyone. So collectively, the more energy efficient we make our homes and the more we switch to renewable sources of energy, the more we will reduce our carbon emissions. So if anyone asks what they can do about climate change, you can tell them energy retrofits of their houses or businesses is a great place to start. Tonight, we have two guest speakers, Gilles LeSage, who will speak about home energy audits and how to understand the information given in the evaluation, and David Cassian, who will explain the City of Penticton's energy audit rebate and the Home Energy Loan Program, often called HELP, H-E-L-P. And just a reminder to keep your microphone on mute during the presentations. And if you have any questions, please just type them into the chat and we'll have a question period afterwards when we'll read out your questions. So Gilles LeSage is a certified energy advisor and the owner of Total Home Solutions, a company that's based in Kelowna and provides services throughout BC and Alberta. Total Home Solutions does energy testing and inspections for existing homes and also consults on the design of new builds. Lori will put a link to the company's website in the chat if you'd like to learn more. Gilles is currently an accredited home inspector and a registered energy advisor with certifications in Level 1 thermal imaging and heating and air conditioning ventilation installation. He has a great deal of experience in the housing industry, and we really appreciate him being with us this evening to share his knowledge about home energy audits. So welcome, Gilles, and please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Am I able to share my screen at this point? I think I can.
Yes, go ahead.
That works out perfect. Again, thank you very much for having us in, and this is such great initiatives that you're kind of having the conversation within the groups. There's a lot going on within our industry right now, and there is a lot to talk about. And it all centers really much around the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and helping our homes be, not just reducing our energy consumption, but also being more comfortable and therefore reducing the impact on our environment as well. We've had the pleasure of working with multiple projects recently where we've seen really good results as of certain initiatives. We worked very closely with the SOS Indian Band fairly recently to evaluate and to upgrade their existing housing stock there. We found that we've reduced their energy consumption and overall their electricity bills per se dramatically. So that's still ongoing, and we're finding some really good results there too. So, but what I want to talk about today is mostly, what we do as an energy advisor, what is involved with a home energy evaluation, and to have a quick look as well at the kind of the outcomes, the reports and the recommendations that might come along with an energy evaluation. With that said, again, introduction about myself. Yes, I'm from Kelowna, originally from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I moved here about 11 or 12 years ago now. Home inspector, energy advisor, trainer, stand on many committees for new construction, net zero technical committee. There's a lot of stuff going on in this country right now. So many initiatives on new construction and existing homes that we're very much a part of, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. We'll just kind of get going here. I want to make sure we have enough time for the rest of the speakers. So first thing I wanted to talk about is, what is an energy advisor? The end result is the fact that you're going to have some information about your home and some guidance about what to do about your home in regards to energy upgrades that can be implemented to your home to help reduce your cost, to have your home more comfortable. And the way the approach should really be taken is, how is your home working as a whole system? It's not really just about upgrading insulation in your attic and getting new windows. It's how does the whole thing work together? So an energy advisor specializes in this discipline. We're all licensed by Natural Resources Canada, otherwise known as NRCan, and we're all very well, familiar and trained with building science principles, which should relate to existing homes. And the eras of each home, or the years that homes were built, each has their own kind of flavor as to what kind of upgrades might be needed for that. So a good energy advisor should be very much familiar with these things. We're trained and registered as an energy advisor through what's called a service organization, and our company is also a service organization. And we're basically responsible for the work that EAs or energy advisors do out there, but also their ongoing training, and we also register them with NRCan after they've passed 2 exams that are administered by NRCan to become an energy advisor. So basically, it's a very cut and dry, black and white process to become an energy advisor. We have a certain code of ethics that we follow as well. And again, it's the whole point of giving a homeowner proper guidance and recommendations towards what they should do with their home. Theoretically, a good energy advisor should be going to a home and saying, if this was my house, what would I do with it? And I convey that information to the homeowner. And it could be a variety of things. An energy advisor could actually advise, or recommend, any upgrades to heating systems, insulation, ventilation, anything have to do with windows and doors, the envelope of your home. So there's a lot of options out there for us to tackle our home's energy consumption, energy efficiency overall. But what is the best kind of roadmap, the best game plan to get there? And that's the biggest job of a well-suited, well-trained energy advisor. We all follow what's called the Energuide rating system. And this is almost like a report card for your home's energy performance. It's a standard used across the whole country. And it actually gives your home an energy rating, a score, if you will. And the way it works here, if you look at that label on my right-hand side, I'm assuming your right-hand side as well, that label there shows the estimated consumption of your home after it's been evaluated by an EA and modeled in our software. So the lower that number, the better overall. So the Energuide rating system is used for many, many programs out there at this point, including for new home construction, a lot of our code compliance for new homes here in British Columbia, but more importantly for existing homes when it comes to the evaluations of our existing homes. So every home will get an Energuide report and a label that we see here. And it basically shows a homeowner, how their house is doing right now. And then another report shows, what is recommended and what are those differences of energy consumption that could happen if we implement these recommended upgrades. So our procedure, as an EA, we will come to your home. First thing we want to do is have a discussion with you and see what your plans are and see what concerns you might have. I've got a cold room over the garage. I might have, condensation on my windows during certain times of the year. So these are things that are really good for us to know. But we will take that information, into consideration, and then we're going to kind of spring into action and do what we have to do on site. So typically what we do, we will measure out your entire home. We'll create sketches of floor plans. We're going to measure out the windows, and we're going to measure the insulation levels wherever we can see it. If we can look up in your attic space, we will go up there and take a measurement of the insulation. We're not going to destroy your drywall to poke in and see how much insulation you have in your exterior walls, for example, but we do the best we can. We're going to look at your heating systems, your hot water system, your ventilation systems throughout the home, and we're going to document what your home has. As well as this, we're also going to perform what's called a blower door test or an air leakage test of your home. We will install one of these contraptions like we see here in this photograph, which is called a blower door test kit. And what we do there is that we depressurize the home, and our pressure gauges in the fan will keep track of how hard it's working to depressurize your home. So basically, all in all, it's giving us an air leakage rate, or how drafty or how well sealed your home is overall. And this also goes into our energy reporting to give us that final result of the energy performance of your home. During this test too, we also like to show homeowners where air leakage is actually happening in your home too. So we can try and draft proof the home as part of the renovation, or at least offer some guidance to say, listen, there's some air leakage here and there, which is normal, but here we have an issue where, it could be better sealed, or it could be sealed, such as weather stripping or caulking, things like that. What do we do with this information? We've come to your home, we've measured out the home, the windows, the doors, we've looked at your heating system, the model numbers, all that information is taken by us. And we will actually build your home in a software that we use called HOT2000. And what happens with the software that it will generate reports for your information to see how your home is performing, how it can perform once we give it some recommendations and some upgrades. HOT2000 is quite a powerful tool. It takes everything into consideration. We will build your walls, you know, with 2x4s or R12 insulation or R40 in your attic, dual glazed windows with low argon, even to the effect of, you know, our windows under, you know, carports and under shading, for example. What direction are the windows facing? All of this information gets taken into account and is generated throughout the software to produce the final reports. So it really is quite an intricate, precise software to give you a good energy performance idea of what your home and how your home is doing. We put everything in there, including the actual efficiencies of heating systems, hot water systems, heat pumps, air conditioning systems. Everything goes into the HOT2000 software. And what comes out at the end are some reports. For sure, you will be getting a label for your home, which is what we see here on this screen, showing, you know, what the performance is or the consumption of your home is at this point. We also have other reports that show, you know, how well your home could be doing if you implement some of the recommendations that we actually put into the software. So it kind of shows you before and after kind of scenario of your home as it is now, and if we implement some of the recommendations from the Energy Advisor, but also from the input of the homeowner as well. So if you want or thinking about new windows, but you're wondering maybe your attic needs something or other, the report will show you, obviously, you know, if you improve your windows, this is the impact, but also your attic can use some of this, or you might want to change to a heat pump system from your current air conditioning system. All these things with the expertise of the Energy Advisor should be on this report to show you what those differences are. Not only that, it will show you the greenhouse gas emissions of your current home and the savings of those too. And it's quite important because right now, there is a federal program that's been launched since May 27th. And if any of you have looked into it, it's called the Greener Homes Program. You can find it online. I've got the links at the end of this presentation on that. And it basically is exactly meant to reduce our country's greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a variety of rebates available through the federal government right now, as well as current and long-standing provincial initiatives that are still in place through Fortis BC, BC Hydro, and through the what's called the Better Homes BC or Clean BC initiatives. So right now, there is really, this is the best time to be considering having your home evaluated and to see what best suits your home in regards to upgrades, to see what makes sense for you to do in regards to the recommendations for upgrades, because there's 3 programs right now available, and you can take advantage of at least 2 or 3 at a single time for rebates for a lot of these initiatives. So a lot of stuff is available out there. Again here, how to find an energy advisor. There is 2 great resources here. One is through CASE, which is an association that we started, that we founded from a few founding members here in British Columbia, but now we are nationwide. So this Canadian Association of Consulting Energy Advisors. So CASE.ca has a listing of energy advisors available in your area according to postal codes, and also Clean BC, which their website is betterhomesbc.ca. That website, I must say, is truly amazing. It's very much a self-guiding website where you punch in where you live and what your plans are, and it will bring a multitude of websites and guidance towards what that is. Every program available, it will discuss. It will show you how to find an energy advisor as well. So very much recommended to go to this website as well and to click through and see what is available. Again, final word on CASE. We now are a national organization of energy advisors. We have really found that that our industry was underrepresented in regards to, I guess what I should say, we're growing so fast that the professional associations were not there. So we've kind of saw the need for an association to further the professionalism of our industry, and thus was born Casey about 4 years ago. So once again, now we're nationwide. So again, a good resource to find energy advisors. A few more links here as well. There's a CMHC rebates for renovation upgrades too. So that's something worth to look into. Our website for Casey, the Better Homes BC website, and also another initiative that has come through fairly recently within the past 2 months that has been announced is a CHBA, which is a Canadian Home Builders Association net zero renovation program. So they're looking at encouraging homeowners to renovate their homes in such a, I guess, a profound way, or what's called deep energy retrofits to get existing homes to being net zero or net zero ready, which means net zero just without solar panels quite just yet. So another interesting venture there too. So I invite you to go on that website and see what's happening at that point too. What I do have as well here, I was just going to go through one of the reports here. I'm not sure if I could switch over. Let's see here. Maybe I'll have to leave that too. What I can do here is put on the next screen, which is basically if you have any questions, we're open to that. But here's my information here with my email address and our contact information. And I know that Marcus talked about having our information available to you through other means. But feel free to email us anytime, and we could send you sample reports from the Energuide rating system, and we could discuss further if there's any questions that you have. Send it back to you there, Sue, if you like.
Great, thanks so much, Gilles. That was fantastic. I'll just get you to stop sharing your screen and
stop share. There we are.
There we go. Thanks so much. So I will introduce our next speaker before we go to the questions. I see there are a couple in the chat now. Second speaker is David Cassian. David is the City of Penticton's Community Sustainability Coordinator. And David has presented at our deep dives in the past. Most recently, he provided an excellent overview of Penticton's exciting new draft community climate action plan, which, by the way, you can watch a recording of if you're interested. Just send us a request via email and we will send you that link. Lori will pop our email address into the chat. If you could please, Lori. And so David, if you are ready, I will turn it over to you now.
Hi, thank you, Sue. Can everyone hear me okay?
Perfect.
Great. So let me share my screen here. I just have a really short presentation. Oops. Okay, can everyone see you can see the PowerPoint there? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so Sue briefly mentioned I presented last on our community climate action plan, which was a draft, but we're happy to say that was endorsed by council just a couple of weeks ago. So we will be putting that plan to action starting right away. So thank you to First Things First for allowing me to come quickly speak on the Home Energy Loan Program. The Home Energy Loan Program is a loan service that's available to City of Penticton customers for eligible energy efficient upgrades. So to qualify, you must own the home, be an electric utility customer for Penticton, and meet credit approval requirements. Help is repaid by the customer through monthly payments on their City of Penticton utility bill. The maximum loan amount for the energy efficiency upgrades is $10,000, and it's over a 10-year amortization. The interest rate is fixed at prime plus 0.5% interest, and it's set at the time that the loan is granted. So what's cool about this program is loans can be repaid in full or in part at any time without penalty. And when a lump sum payment is put down, the amortization of the loan is reduced. So help can be used for a lot of the same energy efficient energy efficient retrofits that are eligible for rebates through the Greener Homes program, through Fortis, through Clean BC, and as well as any of the other improvements that are recommended in the energy assessments. So some of the upgrades that are eligible are things like air sealing, insulation, new windows and doors, better ventilation, space and water heating. So I'll just touch on this quick because Gilles touched on this already and just build on his great presentation. So residents that sign up for the Home Energy Loan Program, similar to the federal Greener Homes Grant, will first have an energy assessment conducted on their home. And so they will receive the Energuide ranking that we looked at earlier, and a comprehensive report that identifies which parts of the home should be retrofitted to have the greatest impact on energy use and costs. So after some or all of the recommended upgrades are complete, they come and do a post-assessment and identify the impact on how the retrofits affected their projected energy and cost savings. So the pre and post energy assessments examine the annual energy consumption minus any on-site renewable energy, how energy is used in the home, where heat is lost, and a detailed analysis of the building envelope and mechanical systems. So this is an example from a participant in the Home Energy Loan Program. 60% of the total energy was used to heat their home with natural gas, and hot water heating was the second largest energy user. Heat in this home is primarily lost through the main walls, windows, and basement foundation. So this assessment really helps homeowners target areas of the home to retrofit in order to have the greatest impact on energy and cost savings. So just to, and running with the same example from the Home Energy Loan Program, the owner started with a single family home that used 145 gigajoules per year of natural gas and electricity. So the majority of the energy uses natural gas that has a high emissions factor, and this totaled 6 tons per year of greenhouse gas emissions. So after going through the Home Energy Loan Program, they financed a higher efficiency gas furnace, and their natural gas use dropped by 29 gigajoules per year, which reduced the annual greenhouse gas emissions from this home by 1.6 tons, down to 4.4 tons per year. To achieve greater energy savings and definitely greater greenhouse gas reductions, had they gone from a natural gas furnace to something like a high efficiency heat pump, you would have noticed that those emissions would have dropped quite a bit. And lastly, I just wanted to touch on some other local programs. There's other municipalities in BC that are offering technical and financial support for residents that are looking to upgrade their homes for cost and energy savings. So one program is coming out of Rossland. It's conspicuously called the Home Energy Leadership Program. And this is a new program they're designing right now along with the Community Energy Association. And they're looking to address household level energy use and aim to remove any practical and financial barriers to undertaking home retrofits and to transition to clean energy. So they have an initial target of 100 homes, and they're going to empower those homes with personal energy use data, and then develop an incentive program that they're hoping will lead to tangible reductions in household greenhouse gas emissions. The City of Nelson also has the EcoSave program, and so they provide technical guidance. They also provide on-bill financing similar to Penticton's Home Energy Loan Program. They have a number of income qualified bonuses or income qualified thresholds. So they will provide free energy audits. The EcoSave program will even hire professionals to come install energy efficient products at no cost. And I was also reading, it's very neat, they have a thermal, and City of Kelowna has this as well. They have a thermal imaging camera that's available at their public library for people to rent out and take home. And recently, Nelson in 2020 expanded their EcoSave program to bicycles. So it's an on-bill financing program to assist residents with purchasing either traditional e-bikes or traditional bicycles, or electric bikes. So since that e-bike program started rolling in 2020, they've issued over 60 loans and almost $275,000. And that really also helps support their local economy as well, by giving local bike shops a lot of attention, and then taking more bicycles off the road and lowering their greenhouse gas emissions. So I thought that was also a really great innovative example of how a municipality can support residents in easing that kind of financial cost that's associated with retrofitting homes, or in Nelson's case, with their e-bike program. Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Just want to keep it short tonight and just quickly touch on that home energy loan program, as well as some other programs that are happening in the province as well.
Thank you, David. We did have some questions. Should I go ahead and ask them on behalf of everyone? First of all, a basic question is, how long does it take to get a home energy evaluation? Is it hours or days? And then also, what is the average cost, Gilles, of a home energy assessment? Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's always, that question is very, very popular. To get an evaluation right now, I mean, in regards to booking one and having the availability, it has been a bit of a challenge these days because of the Greener Home program. And since its launch has really, we've had a tidal wave of homeowners. We currently have a list of 1,000 homeowners on our portal, but to disperse throughout our affiliates throughout the province, we have a lot of EAs that are part of our service organization. So with that said, we have some availability within a few weeks in some cases, but within a month or so is probably a more realistic time frame right now to book. So it's really, really good to do it as much in advance as possible. The cost is typically, for us, we've been charging for the initial evaluation $650 for what is roughly about a 5-hour workload for the energy advisor, from visiting your home and doing the energy modeling and sending the reports and the administration portions after that. There are some subsidies available throughout certain programs, including the City of Penticton with their health program. So they subsidize a huge portion of that cost, which is fantastic. So that's kind of a special arrangement we have with the health program, because we've been had the privilege to work with that program for the past, 7 years now. It's been ongoing for quite a while, 5 or 6 years for sure. But that's typically a cost there, anywhere between $500 and $650 is probably what you would find for the initial evaluation. As was mentioned, there is a post-evaluation needed in most times to come back and do another blower door test and to see what upgrades were done. And that cost there can run anywhere between $175 to $250, $300, depending on how much work was done.
And how long would it typically take once it's booked?
Once it's booked, you mean for us to actually get to the home?
Yeah.
Yeah, it all depends on the availability. We've actually fit people in within the next week.
Oh no, I meant the length. Like how much time does the auditor spend at the home? Typically, is it a
it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours at the home, doing our measurements and doing our having our conversations and our direction and the interactions with the homeowners. And after that, we basically finish everything off, the computer modeling, the calculations, all from the office, and that's about another 4 hours at that point. So yeah, it's a good 5 to 6 hour ordeal. Not ordeal, sorry, I didn't mean to say that way. It's a 6 hour task roughly for us to take on, depending on how complicated the home is. Some homes are simpler than others, and yeah, so we email the reports to the homeowners after that, once the reports are done.
And can you do larger complexes, say a set of apartments that share some heating, share a furnace and that sort of thing? Do you do larger structures?
Yes, we can. We are limited though to what's called a certain part of the building code, which is part 9. So we basically, anything that's under 3 stories above grade, so 3 stories plus a basement works. We can do apartment blocks up to 100 units, but anything that's 4 stories or higher, then all of a sudden it's a whole different category of building that we are not allowed to do under the Energuide rating system.
And a question has come, you were talking about getting a building well sealed. Someone is concerned that if you have a really well sealed building that fresh air doesn't work as well. How does that work? Can you have a well sealed building, but also a building that allows in a lot of fresh air?
Absolutely, and that's the whole point of it. We're spending a lot of money on heating our homes, and yet we want fresh air. So how do we achieve that? And the biggest part is, through controlled mechanical ventilation. So yes, we do want fresh air in our homes. We're going to introduce that through our furnace and our exhaust fans or heat recovery ventilators, which is a dedicated ventilation system. But we're also going to, with that, seal our buildings as much as possible. So we keep the heat in and introduce fresh air as possible for our occupant health and indoor air quality, for sure. Otherwise, we're just going to let it escape through the walls in a loose building. That's a lot of heat loss, which is a lot of money wasted.
Someone has had an audit done and they have some questions about some of the features of the audit. Is it okay to go back a few months later and maybe go over some of the questions that you might have with the original auditor and company?
Absolutely, of course, yeah, that's the whole point. The original evaluation is meant to provide guidance, and that guidance shouldn't stop right at the evaluation.
Great. And then one person is listening from Kelowna. They're wondering, is there any sort of rebate program for the city of Kelowna or the regional district there?
The city of Kelowna does have a rebate program for the cost of the evaluation, and they are currently reviewing further existing home renovation rebate programs through the city of Kelowna. So they're very, very keen and interested. It's under design/review/research and development at this point.
And then we have someone saying, what system for heating do you sell? And probably your answer is you're actually not selling anything. You are just an energy auditor. But do you help people with recommendations for where to go for tradesmen or different kind of upgrades?
Yes and no. You're absolutely right. We are, as mentioned, very much under a very strict code of ethics. We're licensed by the government. So right there, that's got some pretty heavy weight to it, just for the fact that we're not technically allowed to say, please go see this heating contractor for your furnace. We can say we suggest or we recommend a heat pump of this efficiency or a furnace of this efficiency. We could suggest adding insulation to your attic. We technically are not supposed to say what kind of insulation or what brand of insulation or which insulation contractor. So it really is very much a third-party evaluation. Guidance towards proper installation and proper contractors, yes, but not who the contractor is, if that makes any sense.
And there's one person here that has been looking on the Greener Homes website and would like to hire you, but doesn't see your company listed on there. Is there a way to get an audit with your company despite not being one of the recommended companies listed, or is?
Yeah, it's a bit of a story there. I'll try and keep it short. The program was announced in May, and great to have a program, but the infrastructure and the tools that we needed for the portal and the enrollments came at us very, very quickly. And we were finding some tools that were not fully developed yet. So we've actually pulled out of the new enrollments very temporarily right now until we catch up with our list that we currently have. That we are, it's still a work in progress for the basic tools that we're using to deliver this program. So yeah, it's sort of a temporary thing. You can email our office. One way to do it is to actually enroll with any service organization, then email us saying, listen, I want to switch to yours. We can still do that. That's still possible, but we're trying to deal with our current list to service the homeowners as fast as possible during this deluge of this first wave of enrollments, which was amazing, but more than anything NRCan anticipated. So we're dealing with that.
And here's a general question for both you and David, and that is there anyone that could be a resource to help people once they have their energy audits, they need to negotiate through buying and upgrading? Could you, perhaps, do you give advice by the hour, or perhaps there's a resource within the city of Penticton that gives advice on where to locate different systems? David, I don't know if those questions come across your desk at all. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that question. That's a good question. You know, I would imagine that we also are probably not allowed to give direct advice, but you know, it would be a good query to send to our building department, because they're very knowledgeable about buildings and the different systems required for heating and cooling, et cetera. So our building department can be a good resource for some of those questions, or even a good place to kick off anyway.
I could add to that too, just very quickly, Fortis BC, through the Better Homes BC program, they do have what's called their trade ally network. So they basically have contractors for insulation, heating, cooling, that actually go through a bit of a vetting process, you know, proper business licenses, proper certifications in place, and insurance, and they are on a list of approved contractors. So that would also be a very good resource.
Thank you. Someone saying, maybe this is a weird question. You're mentioning ventilation. Does this include bathroom fans? If they aren't installed yet, should I wait to install it before commissioning an audit, or does it matter?
Yeah, you know, the ventilation fans for bathrooms, there are no rebates per se to the general public in that regard. We do have ventilation incentives. Fortis BC has a very different program for Indigenous communities, which is amazing. And that does include ventilation fans. But in regards to the general Greener Homes program, there's really not much there. We would recommend it, absolutely, as an energy advisor, just for the good old sake of indoor air quality, humidity control, and all of that, you know, what encompasses all that. But yeah, it's definitely something of a conversation that we have with homeowners during an evaluation. Regardless, you know, rebates are great. You know, like let's not get caught up on the rebates. The rebates are great. The financing program from Penticton, the city of Penticton, is amazing. You know, but you know, let's start with also the willingness to just have a better home that's more efficient. And it's nice to have the rebates and the help after the, you know, along with that.
Okay, one last question, and this is about exterior wall insulation. Is it one of the more expensive options to reduce energy use?
Well, every home is different. And that's the whole point of having an energy audit, is that your EA will go through and see where the priorities lie. And your report will show you kind of a roadmap. You know, first, we should tackle this, has the biggest impact. Secondly, do this. Thirdly, do that. So we come through homes of all types and all ages. You know, so an uninsulated basement, for example, like a pure concrete basement without insulation, is the biggest area of heat loss of your home, bar none, no matter what windows you have or attic insulation. You know, but a lot of people just think, I need new windows. That's the first one. You know, so again, just to reiterate the fact that every home has its own recipe for improvement. And that's kind of part of our job to help guide that as much as possible.
Thank you. I'll just end with a personal story. We got a home energy audit last year, and we were all set to buy a heat pump. And the auditor came and he said exactly that. He said, no, you've got a lot of exposed concrete on half of your home. The best thing you could do right now is to get that all covered and insulated. So there you go. Sometimes a homeowner might have a preconceived idea on what they need, but it turns out to be something different. So thanks very much. You've really covered a lot of questions and a lot of ground. I just want to remind people that next week we have another deep dive, this time looking at heat pumps for those people that are considering it. All the information you wanted to know about whether a heat pump is right for you, and also about rebates, That will be the focus of our deep dive. You can register for that. I think Lori has probably already put the link in the chat.
Yep.
Talking about that. Thanks.
No,
And-
I haven't done that. I do have a question for Gilles before we go.
Absolutely.
Gilles had a lot of links in that one slide of all of the different programs. Are you able to put those in the chat or send them to us so that we can send them on to our participants with the recording?
Yeah, absolutely no problem at all. I'll do that right now.
Great, thank you.
That's great. So tomorrow you'll get sent a link to the recording for tonight, and we encourage you to share it with family and friends. Again, register for next Thursday if you want to learn about heat pumps. And we don't know what January's topic is yet, but if you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll get an email every month telling you what our programs are. We're working on a 2-day spring event for April, which will focus a lot on home energy upgrades. It's going to be kind of like a home expo at the Penticton Lakeside, and we're also going to have a job fair talking about green jobs. So watch out for news about that too. So thank you all very much for joining us
Thank you
tonight.
very much.
And Gilles and David, it's been great to hear from you. We've all learned a lot, and hopefully we'll be making those upgrades, saving money, and saving GHG emissions as well. So good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.